Welcome to the City Current Radio Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference, empowering the good in our community. And we're going to kick it off talking about A Way Out Ministries. We are joined by Carol Wiley. She is the Director of Victim Assistance and A Way Out program with A Way Out Ministries. So, Carol, how are you doing?
I'm doing great today, Jeremy. Thank you.
So let's start. Give us a little bit of a history lesson for A Way Out Ministries.
A Way Out Ministries actually started out, the organization in the beginning was Citizens for Community Values. And in the beginning, we started out helping dancers leave the strip clubs in Memphis. And in the process of doing that, and we also had another leg of the ministry, which was to fight against the harms of pornography to children and families. And so we did that for several years. And then as the ministry grew and we began to look around, women began to call and need help that were caught up in the commercial sex industry, which of course the clubs are a part of that. And it's evolved over the years now to where we work with a lot of the women are trafficked. Most of them, when they come, don't even know they're being trafficked. So that's kind of a short rendition of how we evolved to where we are today as far as who we help and everything. We are basically a volunteer-run ministry. We've been doing this. I've been doing this since 1995. So, and how the neat thing about this ministry, of course, there's heartaches, but the neat thing about it is when you meet these women and you recognize that they're just like, I looked and I thought, they're just like me, but somewhere along the line, their dreams got shattered. And generally that was from family abuse, sexual abuse, the whole gamut, all that, which leads to the drug use and then looking for love in all the wrong places and getting tied up with pimps. And it's just a downward spiral that starts with most of our women. It started when they were really young, as far as the damage that led to the choices that they made. And so that's the sad side of it. The beauty of it is that you can see their lives change. And that's what we've experienced along the way through these years, is we've seen lives changed. We've seen women that have come in terribly broken, leave with a desire to go to college. We have one right now that is in college. And so that's what we're all about, Jeremy, is just trying to help someone who is terribly broken find a new way to live and to find out who they are. We're a faith-based ministry, so we want them to know who they are in Christ also.
Absolutely.
So that's a huge basis of what we do, is really trying to get them to understand that they're loved, fully accepted, and can be fully forgiven, and that they're loved by God. And that's our aim for them.
Talk about the programs. Let's go ahead and dive in and start us with where the magic starts. So when someone first comes to you, when a lady comes to you, where does it start? Let's start unpacking the medical assistance, the life skills, the education. So unpack the programs.
Okay. Well, when a lady first comes, generally, like I said, not only are they terribly broken, but they have nothing. And so we sit down with them and we figure out, first of all, we have to help them get their IDs, because if they're with a pimp, they take them and keep them. Their birth certificates, their IDs, anything like that, they hang on to them. They take them away from the women. So we have to get those for them. We have to set up a physical for them to make sure that we know what we're working with and what they need to have in order to be healthy. We actually take them to the dentist and have their teeth checked, and most of them have, just from the drug use, have a lot of dental issues, so we take care of that for them. And then the first 2 months when they come in, we call that our blackout period. And that's kind of where we want them to kind of just really get acclimated to the program. So they don't do anything with anybody but staff and program mentors and stuff. And so after that 2 months, though, then we start classes with them. Well, actually, we start the classes before the 2 months are up. And they have about 365, I believe it is, hours of different classes that they take with us that deal with the trauma, childhood abuse, drug use, relapse prevention, all the issues that we found, damaged emotions, all the issues that we found that the women over the years have dealt with and need help with. So they go through these classes, and then at a period of time, once they've done well there and they're kind of through with those, this is where Lee comes in, because we have a partnership with Lee, and the women then can go to work for her 2 afternoons a week. And this is something that we've just been so excited about and love, because it gives them an opportunity to build a resume. Most of them have never worked, helps them learn something, and it helps them learn that they can be creative. And that's a huge boost to them individually. And then after that, we start looking at, what do you need to do? You want to go to college? And we start planning for their exit. As far as while they're working, they open a bank account, and all their money goes into the bank account to save for them to have when they get out. Some of it they have to spend sometimes on some fines and things, but we help them with those too. We would love to see each woman leave here debt-free and able to have a down payment on an apartment, and to have another thing we do too. We want to make sure that they learn how to ride public transportation in case they don't save enough to get a car. But we have, and within the program, we have a transportation committee, totally voluntary, and any place, these people on this committee take the women to their doctor's visits, any appointments they have. So, and also we have a what we call our Christmas Angel program, all voluntary too. And so at Christmas, each woman gets to list some things she would like to have for her children and for her for Christmas. And at that point, what we do ours totally different than most places, because what we do is we ask our volunteers not to put their names on them. We ask them to just wrap them up, and so we can give them to our ladies to give to their children. And so they'll have something to open on Christmas morning rather than us having a party and watching them open them. And so we just try to think of ways, Jeremy, that we can encourage them to know that they can have a different life and that they can be a mom that they want to be. We help them get their kids back. It's just whatever that, it's very individualized. Of course, a lot of things are just they all do together, but it's very individualized. It depends on what that woman needs. Some of them need to get their children back. Some of them aren't ready to get their children back. So they have a lot of work to do before they can do that. So what we do is we just sit down and we triage what their needs are and start to work on them.
Well, just so everyone knows, when you talk about Lee, that's Lee Howard with Renew All Candle. And we've had her on the radio show and TV show before, and absolutely amazing what she's doing on her end, obviously, like you said, in partnership together. And when you look at the work that you're doing, give us, you already mentioned one success story, if you will, but give us another in terms of the illustration of the transformation that takes place in the lives of these women.
Okay. Gosh, there's a lot. We don't have an age limit on the women that we can help. We're the only ministry in the city that works with women over 35. So I'll tell you about one that we got. We got her from jail. She was, when she graduated, she was 55 years old. She had been arrested 121 times. And she left here with a job, with really knowing that she could be different, and she's still doing great. She calls us and checks in, and We've helped her with some other issues since she's graduated. But you stop and think, women that reach that age and that have been in prison that many times come with very little hope. And so when you can give them or get them to the place where they see there is hope and that they aren't what they have done, than that, then we begin to see change. So that's one success story. And then the one I told you about that's in college right now, she was 19 when she came. Didn't have a clue she'd been trafficked. Most definitely had. And she's just doing super, making A's and just doing super. She'll graduate in 3 months. We're going to miss her. She's doing so well.
I'm thinking that empathy is a good one. The self-respect. What's something that you've learned through this process that you would encourage others? And I'm thinking of things like breaking down the stereotypes, working with others, creating this sort of transformation. What's a lesson that you've learned in this process that you would offer as encouragement to others?
There's a couple of things that I really believe are important. When a woman comes to us, this is one thing I always say to her. I tell her, I say, you have a dignity that nobody has a right to touch, not even yourself, even though you've made some bad decisions. But you have a dignity that nobody has a right to touch because you're created in the image of God. That's an important lesson. If we can grab that, then we're going to take better care of ourselves. Another thing that I think is very, very important is for them is to be real with them. They are super sensitive. They know when you mean what you say, or whether you're just, faking it with them. Be real with them, and then see beyond what they've done. When they come in, I really don't look at what they've done. I look at what they can be. And you know what? I'll tell you about me. That's not Carol. I know that's just Christ in me loving them, because I see what they can be. I don't see what they've done. And I think that's important when you're dealing with a population that has been so abused, so manipulated, so controlled, and just absolutely annihilated as far as their self-worth goes. And that could work for any of us.
Yeah, absolutely. How can the community help? I know that the volunteerism, as you said, being a volunteer-led organization and run organization, volunteerism is extremely important. Obviously, financial contributions and donations to underwrite your efforts, but how can we help?
We need volunteers constantly, all the time. We really need more help with our transportation committee. And that's kind of a neat thing to do, because it is kind of behind the scenes in one way, and it doesn't take as much time. You do it at your own, at your convenience. We do it via email, and you sign up if you can do a ride. If you can't, you just ignore it. And but we need more people on our ride committee, definitely. And that's a neat thing, because as you're in the car with them, you get to talk with them and you kind of get to know them. And so that's a neat thing to do. We need people to help. Once we can start our Bible study back up on Tuesday nights, right now the group's too big, so we're not doing it. But once we can do that, we need people to help with bringing a meal on Tuesday nights. We have a prayer committee. If anybody's just interested in praying for our girls and for us, they can call and sign up for that. We need mentors. Each woman that comes, I failed to mention this, but this is probably one of the best gifts we give them. Each woman that comes into the program after she's been here a couple of months is given a mentor. And that's a lady that just comes along, that's been trained to just come alongside her, encourage her, and get to know her, and just be a friend, a good, healthy friend, because most of them have never had that. So we need mentors too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, when you talk about contact information, what's the best way to reach out? Website, phone number? How do we get in contact and raise our hand to help out? Our
website, of course, is A Way Out Ministries. And And you can also call 452-7884. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, and we're on Facebook. So you can contact us a lot of different ways, and we would welcome more volunteers. I really appreciate the opportunity to even say that and have people hear that, Jeremy. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, mention one more time the phone number so everyone has that top of mind, and the website.
It's 901-452-7884. And the website is www.awayoutministries.com.
Well, Carol, thank you for all you and your team do. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for having me.